Welcome to the ISO Show, dispelling myths and sharing tips for success to improve your business with ISO standards, with your host, Mel Blackmore.
Hi, and welcome to the ISO Show. I'm really excited to welcome you to this new podcast, the first of its kind, to share tips for success on ISO standards and dispel some of those myths around ISO standards, and also hopefully to help you achieve certification. Over the course of the year, we have a great lineup of guests that I'll be interviewing. These are leading business people who have implemented ISO standards and seen great success along the way. They'll be sharing their experiences on how you can overcome any challenges that you're facing and also to help you to achieve your goals. As ISO standards are for all businesses and sectors, from micro businesses with just a couple of people right through to large multinational blue chip firms, we'll be interviewing across a broad range of successful businesses. So, for example, a micro business of 2 people which implemented 3 ISO standards, which were quality, environment and health and safety with Blackmores, and quite quickly within a year was turning over £500,000. How did they do that? We'll find out. Also, an international oil and gas company, where ISO standards are at the vanguard of their business. In fact, they state that ISO standards isn't just a bolt-on, it's how we run our business. So what's their secret of their success? We'll be finding out. So there are millions of companies around the globe that are certified to ISO standards now, and their number continues to grow. Even in an age of uncertainty and risk, there's still huge opportunity. And as we all know, there's always room for improvement in any business. So this new podcast is for those people who haven't got the first clue about what an ISO standard is and are wondering what all the fuss is about. And it's also for those of you that have a thirst for knowledge on how to make a business more productive and profitable, or more sustainable, or how to reduce risk. However, the podcast isn't just for you ISO virgins out there, it's also for ISO professionals who would like to gain an insight into new standards and views within the world of ISO standards. So why should I do this podcast? Well, as founder and managing director of Blackmores, which is the leading ISO standards consultancy firm in the UK, I felt it was about time we heard from successful businesses on how they achieved their success through ISO standards. And also for someone to have the balls to set the record straight about some of the myths around ISO standards. Because even now, after running Blackmores for 12 years, I still come across some people who talk about the original quality standard, BS 5750, many of which are scarred by the experience, I hasten to say, and expect the standards to still be the same. Well, they're not. We've come such a long way since then. They couldn't be further away from the truth. They've come such a long way since the 70s and 80s, so it's time businesses were informed of what they stand for today, which is all about, in my belief, growing and managing successful businesses through raising standards of best practice. If we were still back in the 80s, we'd be listening to music on our Walkmans and cassette players, not Spotify or iTunes. ISO standards have evolved massively too. They're completely different now. I mean, they cover everything from data security to event management to business continuity. You name it, there are actually over 1,000 standards out there now. So I'm absolutely delighted that I'll be interviewing leading experts on these topics that will help you to give your business that competitive edge it needs, and also for you to take back into the workplace best practice that you can share with your colleagues. I'm also really lucky that I work with a fantastic team here at Blackmores of ISO experts who will also be sharing their experiences and knowledge on implementing management systems. So what we'll be doing is we'll be having a number of how to implement ISO standards series. So the whole aim of this is really to take you through that implementation process step by step. So holding your hand every step of the way. However, to begin with, the first podcasts that we'll be broadcasting are going to be much broader as they apply to any business looking to be more successful. And with the first one being how to win business with ISO standards. Now, I chose this as the first one because I'd say that about 8 times out of 10 businesses come to us at Blackmores because they need to get that badge. They need to get an ISO standard to win a new tender or to retain a really valuable client, because let's face it, clients are becoming more and more demanding. Their expectations are getting higher and higher. Therefore, your standards need to be raised that much higher to keep up with that. And ideally, to go above and beyond it. So that's where we're beginning with our first podcast on how to win business with ISO standards. So alongside these podcasts that we'll be broadcasting, there'll also be some brilliant, fantastic free material for you to download from our website. So that is www.blackmoresuk.com. So there's lots of information such as checklists and guides that will be available to you over the course of the year. So please feel free to share these with your colleagues, tell everybody about them, and also don't forget to tell everybody about subscribing to the podcast. So I look forward to catching you on the next show.